Hi, my name is Kara Brown. I'm an urban fantasy author, and I am here to answer several of the DMs I got, which is, what are you doing with this board? What is this? So, I got a wild hair up my butt while I was on Tamara's live stream, and I thought it might be fun for entertainment purposes only to do a year-long tarot prediction of what would happen to Authortube in 2020, and this is pretty much what happened. Now, I'm going to go over my findings per month, and then just to let you guys know, the books that I am using to do my translations are going to be Revelations and then Kitchen Table Tarot. So that way at least you know where I'm getting my information from. Now remember, this is just a funny haha. Don't take it seriously. But if this stuff does happen, you know, I would like a donation of some sort. Anyway, moving on. I should probably mention before I go farther into this video that outside of looking at the cards, I did not sit down and do an actual translation of them, just because I wanted to give you guys my raw impression as I was looking at them right now. Like I put them up on the board and I walked off. So let's start with the big theme of the year, which I think needs to be addressed first. So the goal that some people have on Authortube is the Three of Swords. Three of Swords is not a good card. I know we were not supposed to say like there are no bad cards in tarot, but no. The Three of Swords is not a very good card to pull. It's about causing pain and basking in pain, and it's one of the few cards that if you actually reverse it, it intensifies the meaning of what's going on. So there are a group of people in Authortube that are honestly looking to hurt each other, or maybe there's something going on within Authortube itself that leads us to kind of take stabs at each other. Now, the obstacle in this, which I found to be really interesting, is going to be the King of Pentacles. Now, the King of Pentacles is usually a very grounded person who is in tune with their feelings and, you know, I don't want to say sensitive to the needs of others, but they are, they're also very financially driven as well. They're in charge of their finances, they're in charge of their mind, they know what's going on. So you have basically some people intentionally looking to hurt other people, but having to combat some kind of like grounded individuals who aren't going to let them get away with their shenanigans. I don't know who these people are, but I'm happy that they're here. So one of the things that the spread said to do was to pull 4 additional cards for the year, and so the cards that I pulled were the Reverse Lovers, the Sun, the Five of Wands, and then the Eight of Wands. So my interpretation of the Lovers in reverse has to do with basically doing something but not having any passion behind it, or like the interpretation when I first looked at this and knowing that I'm relating this to Authortube is that there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going on to make it look like it is a passion love thing, but it's really just for instant gratification. So it's not that you are making videos about writing because you love writing. You're making videos about writing so that way people will hit the like button and subscribe and see you as a person, if that makes any sense. The Sun has to do with new opportunities, new things, stuff's coming, people are going to benefit, it's going to be a good time. But then I've got the Five of Wands, and then I've got the Eight of Wands. Now, Five of Wands can be perceived as infighting, but it can also be seen as friendly competition. It kind of depends on what's going on. Now, I only peeked at a couple of these cards, like I said, and my first thought is that the Five of Wands actually has to do with infighting. There's stuff going on amongst other authors, and I don't want to use the word petty, but that is the first thought I have when I see this. But fortunately, I should say the word fortunately, the Eight of Wands has to do with structure and taking action and things like that. So despite the fact that there might be some behind the scenes things going on, Authortube is still going to be a very productive entity and making itself and doing Authortube things. Okay, so the first card for it, I'm looking at my phone because it's easier than me doing this. So the first card that we have is going to be the Three of Wands, which is the main theme for January. And it's a bunch of people that are looking to set out on some kind of adventure or journey or, you know, some kind of thing. They want to do something, but they're not doing it. There's a lot of hesitation involved. They're being held back. They want to, the motivation is not quite there. This might be a lot of new year, new me stuff with people wanting to dive into new projects, but they're not confident enough to take that risk. Now, the follow-up cards that I have for that is going to be the Six of Cups and the High Priestess. Now, the Six of Cups has to do almost with almost like childlike indulgence. It has to do with like, you know, things that we wanted as kids or things that we dream after. This can be almost like a childlike innocence kind of thing. And then following that is going to be the High Priestess. And the High Priestess, as I like to refer to her, is I am knowing. So I think what's happening for January is that there are a lot of people who want to go and do something, but it's a dream that they've had for a very long time, but what they're what's holding them back in my interpretation of this is that they're looking for a mentor. They're looking for some kind of guidance. They're looking for the person who is like the mythical figure that will know all the things, but they're not quite sure who that person is for them yet. So that's my first one. So let's go ahead and talk about February, which is all kinds of drama. So I'm not really a big fan of the February spread. There's a lot of pettiness that's going on. If you take a look at the cards right here, the theme for the month is the reverse Ace of Swords. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, aces usually have to do with like, intelligence and making mental choices and mental health and, all the stuff that basically goes on in here. And it's reversed, which means that it's not doing good. All the momentum that you would have had back in the previous month is gone. There's somebody whispering in your ear. Something's going on. Petty shit's happening. Now, the accompanying 2 cards is going to be the 9 of Cups and the reverse 6 of Swords. And I think part of what's happening with a lot of the pettiness that's going to be going down in February is the fact that there are people who are doing really well, and that is becoming a point of resentment for some, and that leaves others feeling like they don't know what they should be doing, because what I'm getting the interpretation from for the spread is that people are seeing something that is being done and they're trying to do it, but then they're finding it doesn't work for them very well, and then that ends up leaving them feeling lost. The 6 of Swords is about taking a journey. It's about you going somewhere, and when it's reversed, it means that you're heading in a direction with no destination. So maybe make a 5-year plan. Just a thought. So I wish I could say it gets better in March, but unfortunately intensifies in March. Something's going on in Authortube which is causing people to circle the wagons and kind of be very greedy with what's going on. That is what the 4 of Coins represents. It represents greed and holding on to one's assets. Now, following that, what do I have here? Following that, I have the 5 of Cups and then the reverse Ace of Wands. All these reverses, y'all. So the 5 of Cups has to do with basically grieving over the loss of something that you have while ignoring the thing that you do have. And that all comes down to perception. For example, you see that somebody's doing X amount of words a day. You should be doing that many words a day, but you're not taking into account that you're still writing words a day, if that makes any sense. People are holding themselves in March up to very high expectations, and unfortunately that's going to lead to burnout. Which is kind of what I'm seeing in the reverse Wands card. Wands has to do with inspiration and motivation and the drive and wanting to channel all that energy into the thing that you want to do, but now it's chaotic because you don't have a place to actually narrow it down, and it's just all over the place. And do you remember when I mentioned that 5-year plan? Just saying, I'm just gonna plug that in one more time. So, because of what's basically happening in the prior month, it keeps continuing on until April. Now, I want to go ahead and read the clip, or I want to go ahead and read the part of the book that talks about the reverse page of Wands, because I think that's really important. She tries in vain to channel her energy and bring anything forth to fruition. Her frustrations are self-imposed and strain has blocked the flow within her. So the burnout that I mentioned in the month before is still transferring into April. Now, what's really interesting about this are the 2 follow-up cards, which has to do with the word I can't say, who I usually refer to as the priest, and then the reverse chariot. Now, the reverse chariot basically has to be running wild and running out of control. You're going and doing lots of different things, but you're not focusing on the thing that you want to do. Where there seems to be something happening in April where there's almost like a calming presence that's trying to happen to wrangle in all this craziness that's going on, but again, the reverse chariot is kind of overthrowing that. It's like the efforts of the one person are being countered by somebody else. So this leads me to think, just looking at the cards, that there's some infighting going on. And yeah, we don't have time for that. Stop it. Stop right now. So after 4 months of absolute nonsense, I think some of us seem to have learned our lessons in May, and people are not diving into things so rapidly and without thought. They're being a lot more cautious, and the reason I'm saying that is because the Knight of Pentacles is usually the individual who kind of thinks before he does things. He considers all the options before moving forward, which is really nice to hear after reading those other months. Also, the thing that happens is that there's going to be a lot more partnerships that are going to be happening. You're going to see a lot more collabs that are going to be going on. People are going to be getting together to make things happen, which is going to be really good. A lot of these collabs that I am seeing here are going to be a lot of work. The 10 of Wands is all about burdens and things that are going on, and it's not going to be easy, but when you're kind of sharing the weight of what's going on, then that's very helpful. So I'm happy to hear that things kind of pay off in May. Did I say things got better in May? I'm sorry. June happened, and no. Okay, so the theme for June is going to be the reverse 8 of Swords. So that has to do a lot with feeling trapped in a situation but not knowing how to get out of it. You're going to have a lot of people that are going to find themselves in painful situations and with no hope of getting out of it, or that's how they're going to feel. So going to be a lot of more. But I'm looking at this, and the first thing that I think is it's not going to be something that we're going to see on the outside, but there are going to be individuals who are not going to know who they can talk to and reach out for help. So make sure you guys are keeping in touch with your friends and letting them know that they can talk to you in June. Following that, there are two other things that are going on. There's the full reverse, and the full reverse for me is kind of like, I've always perceived the full reverse as the person who launches into something, but they didn't really think about it before doing it. Sometimes this can mean a different kind of adventure. Sometimes it can mean new doors are opening for you that you did not predict before. That's one of the things. But the Five of Pentacles kind of makes me hesitate a little bit, because the Five of Pentacles kind of has to do with being left out, if that makes sense. A lot of times this card is depicted as somebody outside of a church while it's snowing outside, and nobody's coming to help them. But in this case, I think what's happening is that there are individuals, I don't know who these people are, who feel trapped. They don't know what to do. They made the foolish choice, and now they feel ostracized from the group, and that's really sad. Oh my goodness. So July's a little weird for me to interpret, and if you happen to read tarot too, please feel free to chime in your 2 cents on this. So the theme for July is the reverse Ten of Pentacles. Now, I've always perceived the Ten of Pentacles to be like the family member that doesn't let you forget things. Like, you wouldn't have had those shoes if I hadn't bought them for you. You wouldn't have had this. It's that person or that friend that you may have. They don't let you enjoy things. They make it clear that they were the one that gave it to you. And one of the interesting things is that this is somebody who has influence over others. If you take a look at that other card that's in there, that's the reverse Queen of Cups. I usually don't like seeing individuals being represented by the reverse Queen of Cups, because that means that they have an authority. But unfortunately, because it is Cups reverse, that authority is not quite emotional abuse, but it definitely is abusing emotional ties. So there is a person who is going to be surfacing and showing their true colors in July. And the really interesting thing is that, and this is just my interpretation, this person's going to be doing these antics while making it look like they're kind of enjoying the fruits of their labor, if that makes any sense. That the Knight of Pentacles is about sitting back and kind of relishing in all the things that you have done. So I guess on the flip side, this is somebody who looks at what they've done and they feel very proud of it, while not really acknowledging what they're doing is I don't want to say rude, because that's not the word I'm looking for. It's they don't understand how abrasive they're being by making people remember that they did things for them, even though in their brain they think that that's okay, but to everybody else it's almost like a type of, not blackmail, but it's something. Somebody find a better word, because it's not coming out of my mouth right now. August gives me a very strange feel. So the Four of Wands has to do with happy house, happy life kind of thing, but in this case it's reversed, so we're looking at the reverse Four of Wands. So again, it's not like most of everything that's been going on so far in this reading. Stuff is going down, but it has to do with the structure and the core fundamentals of what make Authortube what it is. I see the reverse Cups, and I also see the Two of Cups. I'm looking at this, and my first thought was is there something else going on within Authortube? But my honest thought is that this isn't something that's happening within Authortube, it's something that's happening without it. I think YouTube is doing something else, and the reverse Ace of Cups represents the loss of something that we used to have. So my interpretation of this is that our lives in August are going to get upheaved because YouTube is doing a partnership, the Two of Cups, with somebody else that ends up changing the way that we work, and we end up mourning the thing that we used to have. So, well, can't say I'm surprised. So whatever happens in August, we're still feeling it in September, making me think it happens near the end of August. So in that, we have the World reverse, which usually has to do... So the World is kind of an interesting card, because the World is either I'm going to get run over by the wheel, or I'm going to, ride the wheel, so to speak. But when it's reversed, it means that there are delays and obstacles coming our way now. And then following that is going to be the Six of Pentacles, which usually has to do with generosity. So my one thought is, I think that there might be another platform that's coming out that people are going to be considering going to. But then I've got the moon card, which has to do kind of with like, you know, information that's withheld and intuition and secrets and things like that. But it's not reversed, so I usually rest more on intuition. And I think what's happening here, again, my interpretation, feel free to chime in, is in September, there's somebody who's trying to come out and fight the good fight, and it may work, it may not. I don't know. Let's see what October brings. God, I get really nervous when there's two queens in the reversed in a reading. So we have the Queen of Swords as the theme for October, and she's reversed, and that makes me really nervous. Queen of Swords is either somebody who can cut straight to the chase or they can cut you. And if it's in reverse, this is somebody who is going to be doing the cutting. So October is not going to be a great month. There's going to be some more infighting. God, I hate saying that. There's going to be some more infighting, but it's going to be between two people. That's my first thought, because you've got the Empress and then you've got the Queen of Pentacles reversed. So there's going to be some kind of infighting going on between these two people. And I'm looking at these cards on my screen, obviously, but when I look at these cards, my first thought is that they tried to resolve this in private, and then not one of them, but somebody else who is representing the Queen let it slip, like told everybody, and they did it because they wanted attention. Yeah, like this shit can't get any worse. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move into November because we're still feeling the aftermath of October. So the Devil is the prime card for November, which actually kind of makes sense because that's NaNoWriMo. The Devil has to do with material possession and greed and a lot of other things. Not saying that NaNoWriMo is all about those things, but that makes me think that there are people who are going to try and profit off of Nano. Like, we haven't heard that before. They're going to try and profit off of Nano. They're going to try and utilize whatever instruments they can to make new opportunities. But at the same time, I am seeing the new opportunities. The star, which represents new things that are coming, are going to be the new authors who are trying to do NaNoWriMo. They're coming in. They've got hopes and dreams and stuff. That's really cute. And then we got the Seven of Cups, which Seven of Cups. Let me find that definition again. Okay, so the reverse Seven of Cups has to do with basically realizing your dreams and going after them. So there are going to be people who are going to try and profit off of these people, but I think it's not going to work, just because a lot of these people who are going to be doing this stuff in November are doing it because it's what they want to do and they're pursuing it and they're being very serious about it right now. So that's good to hear. I initially looked at November and I was like, no, but I think as long as we keep a wary eye out of the people trying to take advantage of the new writers, it will be fine. Because we can't end the year without more infighting, like Jesus Christ. Okay, so the December is basically topped off with the reverse King of Swords. Reverse King of Swords, that's basically kind of like the same as the Queen, but usually it's kind of my way or the highway with this guy. When he's properly, when he's right side, basically he's the kind of guy that's going to look at something like a fair judge, and he's going to take your feelings into account just a little tiny bit, and then he's going to go ahead and take action. The reverse of this is somebody who makes choices without giving a damn about how you feel or how it will affect you. The one thing that I am seeing in this is that the Strength and the Six of Wands, those are both good counter cards to that, which is why I'm saying that there's more infighting going on. So you have somebody who's trying to be, I say try, that's my first thought. You have somebody who's trying to be the voice of Authortube, trying to tell everybody what to do, but they're being countered by other people. And the fact that the Strength and the Six of Wands is right side is actually really promising, because my very first thought when I see these are both leadership cards, and they're both well-grounded cards. These are people who usually do what's best in the interest of others. So whoever this person is that's trying to cause drama in December, they have to go up against these two very powerful individuals. And I have no idea how that's going to go. Where are my cards? Because I am hey, that one just jumped out. Ooh, Temperance. Yes! Temperance in this situation usually has to do with maintaining balance. So this person comes out and tries to do the thing. These other two people come. And my very first thought is that they're able to find a way to go ahead and fix what's going on. And the way that they do it is not in a public setting. They actually go behind scenes and they talk about it, and then they kind of rationalize everything and then go forward. So I'm glad to see that the year ends with people actually being rational and talking things through. So that's very exciting to see. I'm just going to put that right here. again, so that's the year. It looks pretty terrible and dire, but one of the things I usually mention when I do readings for individuals is that if you do a reading at 8 a.m. it says you're gonna have a terrible day, it's still morning, you can still fix it. So I'm kind of hoping that none of this actually comes true, that there is no infighting and that there is no pettiness. That would be really nice. But again, if it does actually come true, that would be kind of a wild review to do at the end of the year, so we'll see. So yeah, that is pretty much all the cards for the year in a nutshell for Authortube. If you guys would like me to do more tarot videos just for shits and giggles, leave a comment down below. Otherwise, I'll just kind of do them when I feel like it. I do have a little bit of a mini series coming out where I do talk about all the individual cards themselves, just because I feel like it is something worth discussing, and by discussing I mean I will have other people that will come on and talk about them with me. And why am I doing that on my channel? Because it's my channel. This is one of my fun things that I love to do and that I want to share with you guys. And I know some of you do enjoy using tarot cards when it comes to like writing your books, so I thought maybe it would kind of like help with bringing perspective, so there's that too. Anyway, that is me. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you got a giggle out of this. Leave some comments down below with your thoughts and feelings on it. I also got some links in the video description for a pre-order that I have coming out on February 14th. And then hopefully at some point I will have the pre-order for my book release coming out soon. We are just trying to spruce it up to the best it can be before we put out the pre-order. So anyway, that's going to be me. Thanks so very much for watching, and I will talk to y'all again real soon.